Hey everybody, how you doing? Sorry I'm late, but we are live talking about Howard Terminal and the Oakland situation. And I'm going to tweet out that we are live. Now I see it's in the notification list for YouTube. Yay! Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hope everybody's well. Hope that you're doing well. And I hope that I hope that everything's going well with everybody. Let me put it that way. Yeah, I'll put it that way. So,
Hey, everybody.
Something that I just did that was strange. Hold on a second, folks. I was trying to see where we were with. Oh, you know what? That was the previous meeting. Never mind. We're good. We're good to go. Yay. We're good to go. Okay. All right. I'll wait for everybody to come in the room. I will announce that we are live because right now it's just not one person. Just and I'm going to say live.
Just
I have
and I'm going to say live.
I'm going to put this out there.
And I'm going to say live.
Put this out there. Okay. Close that so I don't get this stuff anymore. All right. Sports Biz. BIZ. Then Oakland. Okay. Then Las Vegas. All right. Then Howard Terminal. There. And I'll tweet that out. Okay. And then I'm going to do something a little bit that I've always wanted to do. I haven't done before. Just to do some background here. Effective background, as it were. All right. And that would be here. There. Hey, Dave. Hey, Barry. How you doing? Hope you guys are doing extremely well. I'm blessed to know that you are here and ready to roll and all that good stuff. I'm trying to get, so you can get that. Yeah. There it is. Because I'm going to talk about that dude. That is from our conversation of, when did we have that talk? We had that talk, he and I, 27th of April, while I was in Las Vegas to cover the NFL draft for the 16th time. And, all right, here's the news. For those of you who are still around for the one that dropped, bye. But as recently as yesterday morning, Dave Kaval had conversations with a key official in Las Vegas, informing that official that indeed they're still on parallel paths, both in Oakland and in Las Vegas, toward the eventual construction of a stadium, a ballpark, either in Oakland or Las Vegas. That was yesterday. Today is Friday, September 16th. And from what I have been told, Dave avoided, by doing that conversation, the continuance of a massive error in action and judgment that threatened to wreck the future of his prospects of getting a timely deal done in Las Vegas. All right. You would say, what did he do? Well, what happened was that Dave Kaval did, to the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority to seek the counsel of Stephen Hill. And he did that successfully. But in doing so, he jumped over the he jumped over the standard process of who you contact in Las Vegas, and who you work with to get a large scale public-private project off the ground. You don't go first to the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority and for that kind of project, and the reason you don't is very simple. They are regarded by the casino people as the public sector organization that taxes them and has their money and helps build conventions using that public money that competes against them. And so for Kaval to go first to the Las Vegas Stadium Authority essentially screams, hey, I'm going to do this as a public deal. I'm not going to have the casinos directly involved. And therefore, I will not have casino input regarding partnership or design. That's the message he sent unintentionally. Now, does it sound ridiculous? Of course it does. But you have to remember, every city has its little, well, excuse me, not so little, political idiosyncrasies. That's one about Las Vegas. And the way Dave has gone about this underscores something that actually a member of the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority said to me when I was there for the NFL draft, in that Dave Kaval doesn't have a champion, whereas Mark Davis had Sheldon Adelson, right? To steer him through the political muck and mire and get him the deal that he seeks. And know enough of legislation, enough of the legislators to be able to understand how to unlock the monies that are needed to get the deal done. And so the problem is that he's looking at, see, Dave is messing with, and I think it's fair to say it just like that, messing with the governor of Nevada that's not only running for re-election, but is fearful of being perceived of steering public money toward the ballpark, but at the same time, he doesn't want it to look like he doesn't want the ballpark. You understand? He's walking a fine line. Why? Because of the pandemic and how it's wrecked Las Vegas economy and called for incredibly giant need for affordable housing. And so basically the same rules apply. If Dave wants to get the deal done, and as I think about it, he's going to need to build affordable housing there too, I think. That will gain him a whole new set of political allies as I explain this. But I partially digress. Where he was headed also sent the signal that, hey, you're going to seek a bond issue through the Las Vegas Stadium Authority. And the Las Vegas Stadium Authority does not have to go through the state. Why? Because it draws for its bonding capacity on its gigantic hotel tax base that allows it to essentially get its seed corn from one of the largest collections of hotel rooms in the entire world. Okay? The entire world. It's very powerful. And so Kaval, rightly, from his perspective, I think Dave, from a calculation standpoint, Dave was right. From a political calculus standpoint, Dave was wrong. Okay? And so, but here's the thing. He sought to correct his error, and he did so. And he did it yesterday. He did it yesterday, which is why, Kev, I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. But in terms of this thing, if I were anybody, I would sit back and enjoy the ride of, calling balls and strikes and getting used to the little internecine stories that are involved here, rather than what we seem to want to do all the time is handicap something far in the future, a child of what I call the assumptive society, where people don't want to learn about how things are done. They just want to get to the conclusion and be done with it. Well, most of the time when you take that route, you're wrong. You're completely wrong. All right. So my feeling, it's not a matter of feeling. Here's a fact. Okay. I recited them before, but I'll recite them in a very few seconds right now. Oakland started this behind schedule. The meetings and the planning were supposed to have been established and done the minute California Governor Gavin Newsom signed SB 293 Skinner into law, which sends a signal that, hey, we're going to use tax increment financing at Howard Terminal, which means that we're going to take what normally would be money that would go to the County of Alameda, the City of Oakland, BART, AC Transit, and EB Mud, and we're going to use it to finance infrastructure and community benefits in that area. And yes, I did say community benefits. I did say community benefits. Because if you read SB 293 Skinner, it allows you to pour in community benefits expenditures for different types of projects in what is called the infrastructure financing plan. Well, guess what, folks? There is no infrastructure financing plan still. There is no public financing authority still, and you have to do both before you can even dream of floating a bond issue of any type based on tax increment financing. And because they're so far behind schedule, the mayor, for reasons that I disagree with, has sought federal funding for infrastructure when she's sitting on a pool of tax increment revenue that is worth approximately $2 billion base and 9.7 billion max build out. All right. And where do I get those numbers from? I'll tell you. The $12 billion, remember the $12 billion is not tax increment revenue. That's the total amount of money, assessed value, if you will, that the A's claim they want to build, those tall buildings and everything else, all right? That's what that totals out to be. 12 billion according to Dave. Well, the question is, well, gee, what's the tax increment revenue? So you do quick calculation based on the information you plug into a spreadsheet like the one that I developed regarding the square footage each year and the cost per square foot, and you get your assessed value. And then, to make a long story short, voila, it comes out to $9.7 billion, assuming a 45-year bonding period and an average annual rate of growth in assessed value of 4%. Okay? That's how you get there. But where we are instead is city hires Century Urban. Century Urban used a straw person example of a tax increment financing plan that started at 2020 and went only 20 years. Okay? The law calls for 45 years, but they went only 20 years out. And no one except the dude you're looking at, and I've said this before, picked up on that and said, hey, what are you doing? You're leaving half your money on the table. I told that to the mayor. Okay? This is no laughing matter. These are serious procedural, organizational, intellectual, and financial errors that have been done in your face, and you don't know it. That is why we are behind. This is a matter of, Kev, this is a matter of desire for the A's to stay or anything. Sure. But, if you really love an organization, you're not going to put them through a situation that your city minders have created and say, oh, well, just sit back and they'll figure it out at some point in the future. Meanwhile, you have a crumbling facility that they also haven't fixed. All right. Dealing with issues that a truly professionally ran organization, including the Coliseum that we had back in the 90s, all right, would have fixed. Okay. We have a a coliseum that's ran by politicians, people that I personally know and love. All right. We have a coliseum that is ran by politicians. Okay. Period. End of story. All right. Period. End of story. We have a coliseum that's ran by politicians. When you look down at the staff, it's Henry Gardner and one other person, and that's it. Whereas we were drawing $1 million from the original bond issue, we had Bob Quintel as president, Bob DiCarlo as chief operating officer, and we had a staff of an additional 10 people, even architect on site. All right. We knew everything. We knew the drawings were the whole 9 yards. That does not exist today, and it should. AEG, the company that has the management of the Coliseum that wants to be hired again, is running a skeleton crew down there itself. Oh, and then there's the impact by the pandemic on the staff. All right. But I digress. Let's come back to my friend Dave Kaval. Okay. Because the problem for Oakland is that Dave is still talking to Las Vegas. And right now, the other problem is Part the A's, which is this. There are no complete set of drawings. The elected officials in the county don't even know where they are. All right? And I'm setting that up for someone to write, well, yeah, but someone of the council in the city of Oakland know where they are. Look, I'm setting that up to be a trap. You should not have a situation where you have this hide the drawings, we can't find them. Why? Because you need finished drawings to even dream of having the athletics ready to sign a development agreement with the city council. And you wouldn't be so cruel as to push an incomplete agreement onto an Oakland City Council that can then later get sued for it, will you? Would you? I mean, I certainly hope not. But that's where we are today, folks. There are no complete drawings, construction drawings, for the facility. They are not done. The bigger question is, how far do we have to go in getting them done? All right. And here's the other question. Is it possibly the case that the athletics are slow rolling that because maybe there are staffing shortages or financial shortages? I think that's a strong possibility. Folks, this is the environment we're in right now. The city and county of San Francisco has a 20% staffing shortage crisis. That's right. Because of the pandemic, they have 20% fewer people to serve people who live and work in San Francisco. 20%. On top of that, they are having a devil of a time filling the open positions. And I dare say that they're the only organization in the country, let alone the world, going through this. The question is why? Well, not to go off the range too much, but just basically to fill in the blank of that, I believe it's because there are more people who either died or gotten sick or having had to relocate because of the pandemic than we realize. Okay? All right, then we realize. And we're being hampered and we're being harmed by this situation. Big time. All right, big time. And so we don't seem to have a remedy. All of that impacts the athletics and their readiness to build this thing right now. So could it be that they're slow rolling the drawings because they know that they need to buy time to get through the election. Work with me here. Get through the election so that once Nevada has a governor, either Sisolak or Lombardo, they're tied right now. I didn't think Lombardo would tie with Sisolak. I thought Steve was going to clean his clock. So I am personally shocked that the election has taken that kind of turn. But as they say, here we are. Okay, here we are. Here we are. Steve Sisolak is in trouble. But the fact of the matter is, Republican elected officials in Nevada have been friendlier to the idea of a subsidy or some type of assistance than the Democratic counterpart. The question is, and it's a big question, what will Nevada government look like after the election? And so there are all kinds of reasons for Dave Kaval to slow roll this and to basically say we're on parallel paths. First of all, he knows that he has an organizational problem in Oakland that he can't straighten out because it's a staff problem. The staff doesn't know enough about redevelopment or tax increment financing. The staff hired the wrong consultants, which gave them the wrong calculations. Okay? Those are the problems that we know about. But you don't have to have a lot of problems in a complex systems. You just have to have the right problems go wrong. And basically, that's what's happened. The city spent an inordinate amount of time working on, and it's really an insult to the community leaders that have found their time wasted, almost 2 years meeting with them, but then not costing out what they put together and not putting into an infrastructure financing plan. So they sit out there dead. Okay, dead. A savvy community leader would have filed suit by now, or savvy community group would have filed suit against the city right now. That's not the A's problem. That's the city that's supposed to handle it. And the path has been cleared long ago, thanks to enhanced infrastructure financing district legislation, for the city not to make those mistakes. Yet it did. And the mistakes are still being made. That's why, for those of you who are probably waiting to say, gee, the minute Zenny says he should be involved in this or he should have been hired, I'm leaving the channel. Okay, fine. But the bottom line is this. People who knew how to get these projects done or went to school like myself to know how to get these projects done, all right, are not plentiful in the city anymore. A lot of us have died off. That's the sad fact of the matter. And we're suffering for it. We're suffering for it. The mayor admitted herself last year they had a staffing problem with regarding the not having the intellectual horsepower to get Howard Terminal done the way it needed to be done in a timely fashion. All right, and the problem still exists. So let's say all of a sudden the drawings pop up, which I don't see happening. All right, those drawings are not. Once they pop up, the city shouldn't be in a rush to suddenly sign the development agreement because they have to review the drawings. That takes its own time. They have to know what they're getting. Why is that important? Because those construction drawings say, when they're done and they're included in the development agreement, they say, all right, here is what you athletics are going to build and what we as the city and other minders have the right to expect done. That's the heart of the contract. All right? That's the heart of the contract. You cannot have a development agreement without them. And there is a reason why Dave is still active in Las Vegas, and I believe that they are quite literally holding on to see what happens with this election. They don't want to make a move in Oakland at all, given the way things are going, other than procedural, until they know the Las Vegas situation is fully closed. Right now, it's this way, and you have to remember, Dave is not the one calling the shots positively. He's working for a Republican donor, John Fisher, and quite possibly another Republican donor, a gigantic big kahuna by the name of Phil Ruffin, who, according to Reef Khatib, if you know Oakland, you know Reef Khatib, legendary creator of the African American Sports Hall of Fame in Oakland, who told me by email that, hey, Zinni, it's like 4 days ago. Hey, Zinni, cab driver says that they're going to build a ballpark right over there at Las Vegas Festival Grounds. Ooh. When it gets to a point in Las Vegas where you have cab drivers calling it out, that's when you know something is headed toward a place where it's going to be real. That's from experience, all right? When cab drivers know when at that point, there's real stuff going on. There is a reason that just yesterday, Dave Kaval solved a gigantic political problem threatening to damage his ability to get a deal done in Las Vegas. All right? And he's now talking with the right people. That was yesterday. That was yesterday. That was yesterday. Parallel paths. Parallel paths. Why parallel paths? Again, because Oakland slow rolled this program out because it didn't understand what it was doing. Whereas in Las Vegas, there's opportunity to get something done much faster, comparatively speaking. All right? Comparatively speaking. And on top of all of that, to put a bow on this situation, we have the mayor of Oakland approaching October, November, and December, and that's it. October, November, December, and that's it. The Athletics don't know who the next mayor will be. I don't know who the next mayor is going to be. You don't know who the next mayor is going to be. We have ranked choice voting. We can get anybody, literally. The way ranked choice voting works, we can get anybody. So you can't, in ranked choice voting, assume that because one person's the front runner, that they will remain that and become mayor. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Don Parada ran for mayor of Oakland. This is back in 2010. First year we had like ranked choice voting. Don got the majority of first place votes. But here was the catch, big catch. And John Russo, who was then my friend, who's now in London having vacation, but he's my city attorney then. He and I were doing our show. We always did a show in his office. And he said, Don Parada is going to be mayor, as it looks right now. Because in ranked choice voting, you go through your first choice, second choice, third choice, and there's a kind of a sinking formula that's applied to it, in a recursive sinking formula, okay? And so that recursive sinking formula had not kicked in. And so John said, you have Rebecca Kaplan and Jean Quan, and Jean Quan has by far the most second place votes. But the only way she's going to get in is, as it looks right now, is if she gets over 75% of them. And he said, and that ain't going to happen. He said that on the video, and that ain't going to happen. Well, guess what happened the next day? So John calls me. He goes, Zinni, take that video down. I was wrong. I said, no, you're a genius. You called it. That's what happened. That's how we got Gene Kwan. Totally out of the blue. When it was expected by everybody. Hey, it was our first year ranked choice voting, right? That Don Parada was going to be the mayor of Oakland. Didn't happen. And that's why. Because Councilmember Kaplan and Councilmember Kwan, she was District 4, Libby's predecessor, had, because Libby was District 4 council member after her, had a deal. They went around town saying, vote for her, you're number 2, vote for me, number 1, and vice versa. And it worked. That's precisely what happened. That kind of teaming work. It's perfectly legal. That's what happened. So I spend time explaining that to get you to realize how iffy the situation is. So Dave has 2 uncertainties. He has the Oakland uncertainty regarding the election and the Las Vegas uncertainty regarding that election there. So, hey, but Dave is not going to say, well, gee, I'm just going to wait for the election. All right. He's not saying that. He's too savvy to say that. But the reality is he has to. That's the reality. He has to see what the situation looks like in both areas. Now, partisan A's fans would rightfully say, well, gee, heck with Las Vegas. Why doesn't he just simply deal with Oakland? Make sure he's, got his contributions evenly spread through all the people running and go from there, right? But there's a reason for that. Because of the length of time it has taken to get this project done in Oakland parlance. That's the problem. And the fact that they only have so much money. That's the problem. And it's a big problem, okay? And the fact that you have Las Vegas sitting over there, which has shown a hunger and desire to bring sports in, and theoretically at least presents a viable alternative market to be in. I did say viable alternative market, something I would not have said 5 years ago. The difference is that in this internet environment where it's possible for me to have a meeting with somebody in the Ukraine right now, sitting here, I can watch a sports event at a beautiful venue from here, as can billions of people around the world. And what does it do for that facility? What does it do for that town? It heightens its importance. It's marketing for that town. That's what Las Vegas is enjoying right now because it has the Raiders, and it will have even more of an enjoyment of that dynamic if it gets the athletics and if it gets basketball. All right? That's why. This is something that is not taken into account when economists like my friend Roger Knoll do their analysis. That's why, and I have nothing but love for Roger, but his way of doing things went the way of the dodo as far as I'm concerned a long time ago, because he never factored in the impact on the internet and sports. Now there's a study out that done by a couple of professors actually out of China that tied together the link between sports facilities and tourism. Something you would just say kind of like, duh, right? But yeah, but hey, finally someone looked at that and said, this sports actually have a positive economic impact on facilities. in a new and different way that didn't exist prior to the internet. And I'll go a step further. Cable television started it, but the internet really took it to an entirely other level, because you can cheaply watch any kind of event around the world on this device, or on this device, right? Okay. So that's very powerful. And that's why Las Vegas wants more venues, because these are gigantic studios for what? For a type of reality television that just so happens to get them the audience. So I'm going to close out here, and I'll be back later, but that's the news. The news is that Parallel Path is still active, folks. Dave Kaval made a critical change in how he does, who he works with, does his Las Vegas negotiating and discussions, and who he works with on a better path to eventual implementation of the acceptance of a deal. He is waiting also to find out who the next governor of Nevada is going to be and who the next mayor of Oakland is going to be. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnowblog.com, and I'll see you later today. Thank you for your time. That ends this broadcast.